I came home shaking and my boyfriend pulled me close. "I've got you," he whispered. Then his tablet buzzed with the exact message my stalker had sent me. So I took screenshots before he could explain. That is the shortest way to tell it, but the truth took months to unfold. For months, I believed someone outside my life was watching me. I thought there was a stranger behind the messages, someone hiding in parking lots, standing across streets, or waiting close enough to make sure I never felt safe. And through all of it, Zachary acted like my protector. He walked me to my car. He checked the locks at night. He held me when I cried. He told me that nobody would get near me while he was there. I believed him because I wanted to. Maybe because I needed to. Before everything happened, Zachary and I had been together for almost 3 years. We were not perfect, but I thought we were solid. He was calm in a way that made people trust him. He rarely raised his voice. He noticed small things, like when my tire pressure was low or when I was too tired to cook. That kind of attention felt like love at first. Then my life got busier. I had taken on a bigger role at work, and even though it was something I wanted, it drained me. My phone never stopped. My email never stopped. I would come home late, sit beside Zachary on the couch, and still have half my mind trapped in whatever problem I needed to fix the next morning. At first, he said he understood. Then the comments started. One night, I was answering a message while he stood in the kitchen, opening and closing cabinet doors harder than necessary. "You don't even come home anymore," he said. I looked up from my phone. "I'm sitting right here. You know what I mean." I put the phone down because I didn't know what he meant, and that made me feel worse. "I'm trying," I told him. "This is temporary. I just need to get through this stretch." He leaned against the counter and gave me a tired smile that did not reach his eyes. "You always say that." I did not know what else to say. I was tired of defending myself, and he was tired of feeling ignored. That was the story I told myself. We were both exhausted. We were both adjusting. We just needed time. Then the first message came. It was late morning, right after I stepped out of a coffee shop near my office. I was balancing a drink, my bag, and my phone when a notification popped up from an account I did not recognize. No profile picture. No posts. No followers. The message said, "The red coat looks better on you than the black one from yesterday." I stopped walking. The day before, I had worn my black coat because it had been raining. That morning, I wore the red one because it was the first thing I grabbed before leaving. People moved around me like nothing had happened. Someone brushed past my shoulder. A car horn sounded down the block. The world kept going, but I felt like I had been pulled out of it. I blocked the account. For the rest of the day, I tried to convince myself it was a coworker being strange, or someone I had passed more than once, or a coincidence that only felt personal because I was already stressed. The next morning, another account messaged me. "You looked scared when you checked behind you." Good. That was when my stomach dropped. I read it in the office bathroom with the sink running because I did not want anyone to hear my breathing change. I locked myself in a stall and changed every privacy setting I could find. I changed my passwords during lunch. I deleted old posts. I made my accounts private. None of it stopped. The messages kept coming from different accounts, then from unknown numbers. They were never graphic or openly violent, which almost made them worse. When I tried to explain them to myself, they sounded small. But each one was specific enough to make me afraid to walk to my car alone. "You parked on the second level again. Long meeting today? You always look nervous when you order coffee. Your blue notebook is getting worn out." I started changing my routine. I stopped going to the same coffee shop. I parked in different places. I waited near groups of people before crossing the street. I checked reflections in windows. I stopped wearing headphones outside. At work, Laura noticed first. She caught me standing by the front desk one evening, pretending to look at my phone while waiting for 2 other people to leave so I would not have to walk to the garage alone. "You okay?" she asked. I forced a laugh. "Just tired." She studied my face. "You've been saying that for weeks." I almost told her. The words were right there. The messages. The fear. The feeling that my own life no longer belonged to me. But I hated that I could not point to one clear danger. I only had screenshots and a constant crawling feeling under my skin. So I lied. "I'm fine." By the time I finally told Zachary, I was barely sleeping. It happened on a Friday night. I was sitting on the edge of the bed when another text came in. "I know you're pretending not to be scared, Sophie." Seeing my name changed everything. I must have made some kind of sound, because Zachary came in from the hallway and stopped. "What happened?" I locked my phone too fast. His face tightened. "Sophie." That was all he said. And I broke. I handed him the phone and watched as he scrolled through the messages. His expression turned serious, then cold, then focused. He sat beside me and pulled me against his chest. "Look at me," he said. I tried, but my eyes kept filling with tears. "You are not alone in this anymore," he told me. "Whoever this is, they are not getting near you." That was the exact sentence I needed to hear. I cried into his shirt while he held me. I kept apologizing, even though I had done nothing wrong. I apologized for hiding it. I apologized for being distant. I apologized for being scared. Zachary kept rubbing my back. "I've got you," he whispered. "I've got you." The next morning, everything changed. He drove me to work. He walked me to the entrance. He waited until I texted him that I was inside before leaving. When I came out that evening, he was already parked by the curb. "You don't have to do this every day," I said as I got in. "I know," he replied. "But I want to." At first, it felt sweet. Then it became normal. He checked the locks every night. He lowered the blinds before sunset. He asked me to share my location with him, just until things calmed down. He told me to send him a quick message whenever I left my desk, reached my car, stopped for gas, or got home. I did it because I was scared. He never shouted. He never forced me. He wrapped control in concern, and when I hesitated, he looked wounded. "I'm trying to protect you," he would say. "Please don't make me feel like the bad guy for caring." That line worked on me more than once. The messages slowed down when I followed the routine. When I went straight to work and straight home, when I let Zachary drive me, when I skipped plans with friends, the anonymous texts almost disappeared. But whenever I tried to step outside that routine, they came back. One Thursday, Lauren invited me to a quiet bar after work. Nothing wild. Just one drink after a rough week. I almost said no immediately because saying yes meant explaining it to Zachary. But I missed feeling normal. So I told him. He went still. "With everything going on?" he asked. "It's one drink," I said. "Lauren will be there. I'll take a ride home." His mouth pressed into a thin line. "I don't like the idea of you being out after dark right now. I don't like living like this either." That hurt him. I saw it. He looked down and nodded slowly. "Okay, I'm not going to stop you." That should have made me feel free. Instead, I felt guilty the entire ride there. Lauren was already sitting in a booth when I arrived. She smiled when she saw me, but it faded fast. "You look like you're waiting for something bad to happen," she said. I slid into the seat across from her. "I'm sorry. Don't apologize. Just talk to me." For the first time in weeks, I almost did. The words were right there. Then my phone buzzed. I knew before I looked. The text said, "Enjoying your night out? He can't protect you from across town." My hand started shaking so badly the screen blurred. Lauren leaned forward. "Sophie?" I looked toward the front windows. Outside, cars passed under the streetlights. People walked by with their heads down against the cold. Nobody stared in. Nobody looked suspicious. That did not matter. I called Zachary. He answered on the first ring. "What's wrong?" I could barely speak. "Can you come get me?" "I'm already leaving," he said. At the time, I thought that meant he was ready for me. That he cared enough to be alert. That he loved me so much he was waiting nearby in case I needed him. Now, that sentence sounds different. When he arrived, he hugged me in front of the bar and thanked Lauren for staying with me. He did everything right. He opened the car door. He kept his voice low. He did not scold me. But as we drove home, he reached over and took my hand. "I hate seeing you like this," he said. "Maybe for now, you need to stay close to me." I nodded because I was too tired to argue. And that was how my world got smaller. Not with one big command. It happened through fear, comfort, and 100 tiny choices that felt reasonable in the moment. I stopped seeing Lauren outside work. I stopped running errands alone. I stopped answering unknown numbers. I slept badly, ate badly, and jumped every time my phone buzzed. And Zachary became more loving than he had been in months. He brought me tea at night. He sat with me when anxiety made me sick. He kissed my forehead and told me I was safe. He apologized for ever making me feel neglected before. "I should have paid more attention," he said once, holding my hand in bed. "Maybe if I had, this wouldn't have gotten so bad before you told me." I cried when he said that. I actually cried because I thought I had misjudged him. I thought my ambition had made me careless with the one person who was truly there when it mattered. That guilt kept me close to him longer than fear did. For months, whenever another message came in, I told myself the same thing. At least I have Zachary. I did not know he was the reason I needed anyone at all. The night everything fell apart started quietly. Zachary had joined a weekly basketball game with a few people he knew. He said it helped clear his head, and honestly, I was relieved he had something outside the apartment. I had begun to feel like my fear was swallowing both of us. Before he left, he checked the front lock twice. "You'll be okay?" he asked. I was sitting on the couch with a blanket over my knees, trying to read. "I'll be fine." He looked at my phone on the coffee table. "Text me if anything feels off." "I will." He leaned down, kissed the top of my head, and said, "I've got you." That phrase used to calm me. That night, it made the room feel smaller. After he left, I tried to read, but my eyes kept moving over the same paragraph without absorbing anything. The apartment was too quiet. Every sound had weight. The refrigerator clicking on. A car door outside. The faint footsteps from the unit above mine. I got up to make tea mostly so my hands would have something to do. That was when I heard the buzzing. At first, I thought it was my phone. I went back to the couch, but my screen was dark. Then it happened again, softer this time, coming from the kitchen. The buzz came from the counter, near the knife block and a stack of old mail. I moved a few envelopes and saw Zachary's tablet. It was an older one he barely used, or at least that was what I thought. The screen lit up again before I touched it. A notification sat across the lock screen from a texting app one did not recognize. The preview said, "Enjoying your night out? He can't protect you from across town." For a moment, I did not understand what I was seeing. My mind tried to reject the words before they could land. I told myself it had to be a coincidence. A spam message. An old notification. Something from my own phone somehow connected to his tablet. But the sentence was exact. That was the message I had received at the bar with Lauren. The one that made me call Zachary crying. The tablet buzzed again. This time, the notification said, "Scheduled message delivered." My chest went hollow. I picked up the tablet with both hands because my fingers had gone weak. There was no passcode. It opened straight to the app. And there it was. A full history. Numbers. Drafts. Sent messages. Scheduled messages. Notes copied with dates beside them. The red coat message. The parking garage message. The one with my name. The one from the bar. All of them. For several seconds, the room had no sound. I could see the messages, but I could not feel anything yet. It was like my emotions were standing behind glass, waiting for my body to catch up. Then I noticed the drafts. There were messages he had not sent yet. One said, "You looked better when you didn't think you were being watched." Another mentioned my usual Monday coffee order. Another was written for a day I had told Zachary I might go shopping with Lauren. That was when the truth became bigger than the shock. This was not one impulsive mistake. He had planned it, managed it, timed it. He had watched me change my passwords. He had sat beside me while I deleted old photos. He had driven me to work because the fear he created made me too scared to drive alone. He had comforted me for damage he was still causing. I sat down at the kitchen table with the tablet in front of me. My hands were so cold they hurt. Part of me wanted to call Douglas right then. Part of me wanted to run out of the apartment and never come back. But a quieter part of me knew that if I panicked, Zachary would twist it. He would say I misunderstood. He would delete things. He would cry. He would make himself smaller and softer until I doubted my own eyes. So I took screenshots. I took photos with my own phone. I recorded short videos scrolling through the message history, the scheduled drafts, the account settings, and the delivery logs. I made sure the tablet was visible in the video. I made sure the messages were clear. Then I sent copies to myself and saved them in more than one place. Only after that did I call Douglas. He picked up quickly. "Hey, sophomore. Everything okay?" I tried to speak, but all that came out was air. His tone changed immediately. "What happened?" "I need you to come get me." "Are you hurt?" "No." "Is Zachary there?" "No. But he's coming back." That was all I had to say. "I'm leaving now," Douglas said. I stayed at the kitchen table after the call ended. The tablet was still open. The apartment looked exactly the same as it had an hour earlier, but it no longer felt like a home. Every comforting memory had been poisoned. The night at the bar. The way Zachary answered so quickly. The way he held me outside and thanked Lauren. The way he told me I needed to stay close. I used to think he had rescued me that night. Now I understood he had been waiting to play his part. At 9:43, I heard keys in the lock. Zachary came in carrying his gym bag, cheeks flushed, hair damp with sweat. "Hey," he said. "Game ran late." I did not answer. He kicked the door shut behind him and looked toward the kitchen. The second he saw the tablet on the table, his face changed. Not confusion. Recognition. That was the part that confirmed everything before he said one word. His gym bag slipped from his shoulder and landed on the floor. "Sophie," he said quietly. I looked at him. "Why?" He took one step forward, then stopped when he saw my phone beside the tablet. "You recorded it." My voice came out flat. "Answer me." He swallowed hard. For a few seconds, I thought he might lie anyway. I thought he might say someone hacked the tablet or that he was investigating for me. But his face collapsed too quickly. He knew there was too much evidence. "I didn't mean for it to get this far," he said. Something inside me went still. That is not an answer. He rubbed both hands over his face. "You were pulling away from me." I stared at him. "You were always working," he continued. "You didn't look at me anymore. You didn't need me. I tried talking to you, and you made me feel like I was being unreasonable. So you scared me." His eyes filled with tears. I was scared too. "No. Sophie, please." "No," I said again. "Do not make this something we both did." He flinched. "You made me afraid to walk to my car," I said. "You made me afraid to answer my phone. You let me cry in your arms while you knew exactly who was sending those messages. I never wanted you hurt. You hurt me every day." He stepped closer, his hands raised carefully, like he was approaching someone fragile. That almost made me laugh, because for months, I had been the fragile one. "I thought if you understood that the world wasn't safe, you would remember that I was," he said. That sentence was worse than any confession. He was not sorry because he understood what he had done. He was sorry because he had been caught. He still thought the fear made sense. He still thought his need to be important justified what he put me through. I stood up. He moved toward me. "Please don't leave." I picked up my phone. "Sophie, wait. Douglas is on his way." His expression broke open. "You told your brother?" "I told him to pick me up." "Please," he said. "We can fix this. I'll delete the app. I'll get help. I'll tell you everything. Just don't walk out like this." "Like this?" I repeated. He started crying then. His voice cracked. His hands shook. He sat down on the edge of a chair like his legs could not hold him. For one awful second, I almost comforted him out of habit. That scared me more than anything. I stepped back. "You trained me to feel guilty when you were upset," I said. "I'm not doing it tonight." He stared at me like I had slapped him. I walked to the bedroom and grabbed a suitcase. I did not pack well. I threw in clothes, my charger, a few toiletries, and a folder of personal documents from the drawer. Zachary followed me from room to room, talking nonstop. He said he knew it was wrong. He said he had been in a bad place. He said he panicked. He said he loved me too much. Every sentence made me move faster. When he blocked the bedroom doorway, I looked him directly in the eye. "Move." He did not move at first. Then my phone rang. "Douglas." I answered on speaker. "I'm downstairs," he said. Zachary stepped aside. I pulled the suitcase past him and walked to the front door. My whole body was shaking now, but not from fear of the anonymous messages. That fear had finally been given a face, and the face was standing behind me, crying in the hallway. At the door, Zachary said my name. I paused, even though I hated myself for it. He looked smaller than I had ever seen him. "If you leave right now," he said, "you're going to destroy us." I gripped the suitcase handle. "You already did." Then I walked out. Douglas was waiting by the curb with the passenger door open. The second I got in, I handed him my phone. He watched the videos in silence. His jaw tightened more with every second. When he finished, he set the phone down carefully. "Tell me you saved copies." I did. "Good." We sat there for a moment without moving. Then he looked at me, and his voice softened. "You're not going back there tonight." I nodded. For the first time in months, nobody needed to convince me I was in danger. I finally understood exactly where it had been coming from. I stayed with Douglas that night. I barely slept. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the tablet screen. Not Zachary crying. Not the messages by themselves. The screen. That cold proof. The thing that turned months of fear into something undeniable. By morning, my shock had sharpened into anger. It was not loud. It felt clean and focused. I kept thinking about every time Zachary had told me to be careful. Every time he checked the locks. Every time he watched me shrink and called it protection. Douglas made coffee and sat across from me at his kitchen table. "What do you want to do?" he asked. I did not answer right away. Leaving Zachary was already decided. But the evidence sat on my phone like a weight. I knew if I did nothing with it, he would control the story. He would tell people I had been stressed. He would say work changed me. He would say I misunderstood something private on his tablet. Maybe he would even say I made the messages seem worse than they were. The worst part was that some people might believe him. Zachary was calm in public. Reasonable. Soft-spoken. He knew how to look wounded without looking guilty. I don't want him to be able to pretend this didn't happen, I said. Douglas nodded slowly. Then don't let him. I called out of work. Then I organized everything into one folder. Screenshots, screen recordings, dates, messages that matched the ones on my phone, drafts that had not been sent yet, and proof that the app was logged in on his tablet. Then I wrote a short message to his mother and sister. I did not insult him. I did not exaggerate. I did not add dramatic language. I wrote, "This is why I left last night." For months, I received anonymous messages that made me afraid to go anywhere alone. I found the account and message history on Zachary's tablet. I am not discussing this by phone. I am sending the evidence so there is no confusion about what happened. Then I attached the proof. My finger hovered over send for almost a full minute. Once I pressed it, there was no taking it back. Cheryl called first. I did not answer. Then Diana. I did not answer her either. The messages started within 10 minutes. Cheryl wrote, "Please call me. I don't understand what I'm looking at." Then he says he made a terrible mistake. Then, "This should stay between you two until everyone calms down." Diana was less careful. "You have no idea what he's going through right now. You could have just left. Why are you trying to humiliate him?" I stared at that word for a long time. Humiliate. For months, I had been afraid to walk through a parking garage. I had stood inside bathroom stalls trying to breathe quietly because I did not want my coworkers to hear me panic. I had stopped living my own life because Zachary wanted to feel needed. But somehow, showing people what he did was the humiliating part. I put the phone face down. Then I made the decision that split everyone. Zachary's work involved access to sensitive client systems and digital accounts. I knew that because he had talked about confidentiality rules many times. He was proud of being trusted. Proud that people saw him as careful and reliable. I did not know whether he had used any work tools, and I did not accuse him of that. But if someone could secretly run months of digital harassment against his own girlfriend while presenting himself as calm and trustworthy, I believed his company deserved to know there might be a serious judgment problem. I did not write to his entire office. I did not post online. I did not tag him anywhere. I found the proper company contact for compliance concerns and sent a factual email. I explained that I had discovered evidence that Zachary used anonymous texting accounts to send me repeated harassing messages over several months. I said I was not asking for revenge. I was making them aware because his role involved digital trust and sensitive access. I attached the evidence. Then I closed my laptop and felt like I might be sick. For several hours, nothing happened. Then Zachary started calling. I blocked him. By evening, Cheryl sent a message that said, "He has been suspended while they review it. Please, Sophie. Whatever happened between you, this is going too far. Whatever happened between you." As if the whole thing were a breakup argument. As if he had forgotten my birthday or flirted with someone at a party. I did not respond. The next day, I learned from Diana that Zachary had been let go. Her message was long and furious. "You got what you wanted. He lost his job. He is back at Mom's house, barely speaking, and everyone is terrified for him. I hope ruining him was worth it." I read it twice. Then I put my phone down and cried for the first time since finding the tablet. Not because I wanted Zachary back. Not because I thought he was innocent. I cried because consequences still have weight, even when they are deserved. I cried because part of me remembered the man who made dinner when I came home late. The man who carried my boxes when we moved. The man who once felt like the safest place in the world. That version of him had never been the whole truth. Or maybe he had been real, but not without the other part. That was harder to accept. Lauren came over after work with takeout and sat beside me on Douglas's couch. I told her everything. She did not interrupt. She did not ask why I missed the signs. She did not make me feel stupid for believing him. When I finished, she said, "He built a cage and called it love." That sentence stayed with me. Because that was exactly what it felt like. A cage with soft blankets. A cage with forehead kisses. A cage with someone checking the locks from the inside. For a few days, I thought the worst was over. Then Julia asked to meet. She was careful when she called. Too careful. I could hear it in her voice. "I'm on your side," she said immediately. "I just want to talk." We met at a small diner in the middle of the afternoon. I chose a booth where I could see the door. That habit had not gone away yet. Julia looked tired when she sat down across from me. Before she said anything, she reached for my hand. "What he did was wrong," she said. "I need you to know I believe that." I waited. But she exhaled. But reporting him to his company was huge, Sophie. I pulled my hand back. She did not get defensive. That almost made it worse. I'm not saying he deserved protection, Julia said. I'm not saying you owed him silence. I'm saying that step changed his entire life. He changed mine. I know. Do you? Her face tightened. Yes, I do. But you had already left. You had proof. You could have spoken to someone legally. You could have let his family deal with him. Sending it to his employer made it permanent. I looked out the window at the parking lot. A woman was helping a child into a car seat. 2 men were laughing near a truck. People were living ordinary lives while I sat there being asked whether I had punished someone too hard for making my ordinary life disappear. Julia's voice softened. I'm worried you made that decision while you were still in shock. That landed because it was partly true. I had been in shock. I had also been clear. Those 2 things can exist together. I did not lie, I said. I know. I did not exaggerate. I know. I did not make him send those messages. Julia looked down at her coffee. No, she said. You didn't. When I left the diner, I felt worse than before. Not because Julia had convinced me, but because she had said the part one was already afraid of. That maybe doing the right thing can still feel brutal. That maybe protecting yourself can look like revenge from the outside. That maybe I would spend a long time wondering where that line was. Cheryl called again that night from a different number. I answered because I was tired of seeing her name. She was crying. He is not doing well, she said. I closed my eyes. I'm sorry to hear that. He made a terrible mistake. A terrible, terrible mistake. But he loved you. No, I said quietly. He wanted control. He was scared of losing you. So he made me scared of everything else? She sobbed harder. Please tell his company this was a misunderstanding. Tell them emotions were high. Tell them you don't want this on his record. I felt something inside me go cold. Cheryl, I sent evidence of what happened. I'm not going to lie to protect him. He is my son. I know. There was a long silence. Then she whispered, you used to love him. My throat tightened. I did. She waited like there was more. There was, but not the kind she wanted. And he used that against me. I ended the call. After that, I changed my number. I stayed with Douglas while I found a temporary place. Lauren helped me pack my things when Zachary was not there. I did not take much. Most of it felt contaminated by memory. The first night alone in the new apartment was strange. Nobody checked the locks for me. Nobody asked where I was going. Nobody told me to text when I arrived. I sat on the floor because I had not bought a couch yet, eating noodles from a takeout container, listening to the hum of the refrigerator. The silence should have felt peaceful. Instead, it felt unfamiliar. Freedom can feel empty at first when you have been trained to mistake control for care. I am doing better now, but not in a clean, movie-ending way. I still check reflections in windows. I still get nervous when unknown numbers call. I still wake up sometimes with that old jolt in my chest, reaching for a phone that is no longer full of anonymous messages. But I drive myself to work again. I meet Lauren without asking anyone's permission. I sleep with the blinds open sometimes, just because I can. As for Zachary, I do not know what happens next. His family says he is trying to get help. Diana still thinks I destroyed him. Cheryl has stopped calling, but every few days, I get the feeling there are people out there telling the story with me as the villain. Maybe in their version I am. Maybe I am the woman who exposed a broken man at his lowest point. Maybe I am the ex who sent private evidence to his employer and cost him his career. But in my version, I am the woman who found out the person holding her through the fear was the one feeding it. I did not post his face online. I did not lie. I did not invent a single thing. I showed the truth to the people closest to him and to the place that trusted him with sensitive access. Still, I would be lying if I said I feel nothing. Some nights, guilt sits beside me. Not because I think he was innocent, but because I know the consequences were real. His life changed after I sent those screenshots. Then I remind myself that mine changed the first time he sent the message. He just did not expect my fear to leave a paper trail. So that is where I am now. Trying to rebuild a life that does not require someone else to make me feel safe. Trying to understand whether justice is still justice when it comes from anger. Trying to accept that calm victory does not always feel like victory at first. I know what he did was wrong. I know I had the right to leave. But I still wonder about the rest. Was exposing him the only way to protect myself, or did I cross into revenge the moment I pressed send?